another episode of Spotlights here on Catholic Trends. This is the base where we throw light on happenings in the church here in Ghana and beyond. Today on the show, I am talking about a group of young people who have that desire to do more. They are also known as the youth wing of the Jesuits. And my guest is none other than the Director of Youth Ministries for the Jesuit Northwest Africa Province, in the person of Father Eyrah Foli. I'll be back shortly with details on the show. Please stay. Thanks for coming. It was good to see you around.
Thanks for having me.
So, Director of Youth Ministries,
Yes.
Society of Jesus?
Yes, of the Northwest Africa Province, which comprises Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and the Gambia.
Yeah, big man.
Charlie.
Right. Yeah. Some say you people are very controversial. Others think that you are the cause of the problems of the church. Who are the Jesuits?
The Jesuits are a group of men who belong to the religious congregation known as the Society of Jesus. We have priests and brothers, and we are possibly the largest male-only religious congregation in the world right now.
Right.
And our brother is the Pope. So Pope Francis is our brother. Yeah.
No wonder they say that you are the problem of the church.
Yeah. So we take part in a lot of things, a lot of apostolates, but what we are really, really known for is, apostolates and the educational apostolate, running secondary schools, universities. Now we are venturing into youth ministry. It's been there before, but it's now part of the universal apostolic preferences of the Society of Jesus, and my Jesuit province has taken it seriously with the setting up of the youth ministries office, of which I am running currently. I'm the one running the office currently. Yeah, reaching out to young people and seeing how we can accompany them and lead them to God, especially in this current time we find ourselves in, when they really need hope. They really need hope. So we accompany them towards a hope-filled future. Yeah.
Director of Youth Ministries. What exactly is your work?
So basically, I work with young people in our various Jesuit apostolates. I collaborate with the chaplains, the youth chaplains in the dioceses, where we have our apostolates as well, to see where we can have joint programs, to see where we can come in to assist. So, like in Nigeria, I've had leadership seminars for the youth leaders. I've done the one with the Isolo Deanery in Lagos. I've had a leadership seminar with them. We've had youth camps. Even outside Lagos, we traveled to Osun State to have youth camps. We've had 2 of them so far. And then I also helped to establish the group we call MAGIS, which people call the youth wing of the Jesuits, to establish them in all the countries where we have a Jesuit presence, and also in our apostolates, especially in our parishes. So we have one in Liberia, we have several centers in Nigeria, and currently we are looking to get in 3 centers here in Ghana as well. Yeah.
Let's talk a bit about your work with MAGIS. You work in Nigeria. How are you able to cope working with young people in all these countries that you have mentioned?
Yeah, so the basic thing with working with young people is getting to understand them, understand who they are, where they are, and then see how you can come in to assist them. Um, I don't go in as someone who has all the ideas.
Right.
The young people have exceptional ideas. They have the energy and everything, but sometimes all they need is direction and focus, and then they can put all their energies and everything in one direction. Yeah. So working with MAGIS, especially in Nigeria, where we have a very solid setting is we each MAGIS center has a coordinating team, and then the general MAGIS Nigeria also has its own coordinating team. So you would have maybe two or three people from each MAGIS center forming the general coordination team to run the affairs of MAGIS Nigeria. So even when I'm not present in Nigeria, like now, everything can still run smoothly. All their programs and everything run smoothly. Some of the other things, we would do would be to have like empowerment programs um, in one of our parishes with the youth. They have the program they call the pitch, where young people with ideas can come pitch their business ideas, like Shark Tank
Right.
or Dragon's Den.
I think there's also one that is it a presidential pitch in
Yes,
Ghana?
yeah, so something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they would come pitch their ideas, and then those who are there would offer them maybe seed money to
Right.
get their business up and running, or give them advice on how well they should run their businesses and stuff. And for me, that's the way to go. We don't only pray with them, but also give them something concrete to do. Yeah.
We've mentioned MAGIS, I think, more than 3 times now, and I'm sure someone watching will be wondering what exactly MAGIS is about. Do you want to
Okay.
share with us?
Yeah. So magis is a Latin word which means the more, and it's a maxim the Jesuits use a lot. So whatever we are doing, we go the extra mile.
Right.
And the magis group first came about because some young people needed um, a space where they could practice Ignatian spirituality first of all. And this was happening in the context of a World Youth Day. I think this would have been in France. Yeah, the World Youth Day in France. So they gathered as people from Jesuit apostolates to share their common Ignatian heritage. And from there, it became a standard practice that before every World Youth Day, all those who came from Jesuit apostolates, maybe chaplaincies, schools, and parishes, would meet a week or two before the World Youth Day proper would begin. They would carry out experiments. When the Jesuits talk about experiments, it's like apostolic work. So they would work in orphanages, in prisons, have cultural immersions, um, pilgrimages. So depending on what your strengths are or where you feel drawn to, they send you out to that place to see where you can make more fruit. Um, so that was where the whole concept of MAGI started. And they realized that after World Youth Day, everybody goes quiet
Yeah.
till
To
the
the
next
next.
World Youth Day, which will be like maybe 3 or 4 years later. And from there, the MAGIS groups, came to be that thought it wise that they would have them in Jesuit apostolates
Right.
or wherever you would have a gathering of young people who want to be interested in Ignatian spirituality. So it's a movement, basically, a movement of prayer, a movement of service, um, and a movement of people who want to do more for God. Basically, they don't want to be satisfied with whatever they have in a good way.
Right.
They don't want to be satisfied with the status quo, but they want to challenge and push themselves to attain higher heights. Yeah, that is what Magis is basically
So
about.
who
Yeah.
can be a member of this movement
So
that you talk about?
So basically, it's for people between the ages of 18 to 35. So it's more of like young adults. Yeah. So 18 to 35. Um, yeah. These are the people the group, the demography, the group caters for people between the ages of 18 to 35.
And
Yeah.
when you gather them, what exactly do you take them through some training, or for want of a
Yes.
better word, formation? Because you mentioned ignition
Yeah.
spirituality.
So they are supposed to go through a formation program where they would get to know more about one, St. Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits. They would get to know more about Ignatian spirituality, how Jesuits pray. Um,
Do you pray differently from the way others pray?
So the Franciscans would have their own way of praying. The Dominicans would have their own way of praying. The Benedictines would have their own way of praying. The diocesans would have their own way of praying. The Jesuits also have certain prayers that are peculiar to us. So, for instance, we do the examen 2 times a day, in the afternoon and in the night, before you go to bed. We do the spiritual exercises. At least you do it twice as a Jesuit. The first time as a novice, and then the second time before you make your final profession. We do our annual retreats every year, our 8 day annual retreats in the Ignatian tradition. Um, but there are a lot of things, and our maxim of finding God in all things. So, be it good or bad, depends on how you look at it. We try to find God in those situations as well.
So is there a way you bring all these people together? Because you mentioned you have mergers in different countries in all the province, in the province. Is there a way that these people come together to share ideas and also to also learn from other cultures and all that?
Yeah, so once a year, we have what we call the MAGIS encounter. And this year we are having the third edition in Nigeria. The first one was in Lagos in 2023, the year 2023.
Right.
We had the first edition in Lagos. The second edition was in 2024 in Accra, where we're at the Catholic Youth Center. And then the third edition is now going to be back in Nigeria, in Benin City, Edo State. And basically, this gathers people from Ghana and Nigeria who are members of the MAGIS group. So it's a cultural exchange. It's an opportunity for them to learn, to grow, share ideas, network,
Right.
also to get the right connections and everything. And they grow from there. They make friendships that last, for a while. And I find it very beautiful because it helps to, um, we may have a certain bias or a certain, stereotype in our mind of this particular group of people. But when you get to encounter them, in such a space, you come to the realization that we are actually not that different after all. And then, you also go out and propagate that gospel that, we shouldn't be looking down on people because of where they come from and everything. It's usually a very, very beautiful experience.
Is there a reason we are focusing on Ghana in Nigeria? Because all the encounters you mentioned, it's
Yes.
been Ghana and Nigeria.
Yeah. So the groups. So we have a group in Liberia, and we are setting up one in Sierra Leone as well.
Right.
So because of the logistics of traveling all the way to Ghana and Nigeria, it's best we have theirs over there. So it will be the Magis encounter for Liberia and Sierra Leone.
Right.
That's the plan for them as well. Um, because it's very, very expensive to fly people into either Ghana or Nigeria, or to fly people from Ghana and Nigeria to Liberia and Sierra Leone, for such a program. If only, our West African corridor, the roads were good, it would have been a wonderful opportunity to do a road trip.
Right.
We get it to experience, because we would have to go through. So those coming from Nigeria would go through Togo, Benin, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and then enter Liberia or Sierra Leone. You get it. It would have been a very wonderful and beautiful experience. But um, you know how things are in West Africa for now, especially that axis. So we can't really do that. The best is to fly, and it's very, very expensive. Yeah. So we'll just focus on they having theirs, and then the guys in Ghana and Nigeria also having theirs. Maybe in the future we may get a donor who would say, "Oh, I want to pay for these
Right.
guys to travel all the way down here," and then we would be very, very happy to host
Should be an
everyone.
interesting experience.
Yeah.
When exactly is this program coming up? And
Okay.
what's the program like? I mean, when they arrive,
Mhm.
what will they be doing?
Yeah. So this year's program is starting from the 28th of August to the 31st of August. So what characterizes the Magis encounter is having a Magis circle every day. And a Magis circle is a faith sharing session where people, open up to where they found God in the day in all the activities that they've carried out. Part of the activities that will be carried out would be the experiments, like I mentioned. So we are making arrangements for people to visit the orphanage, the remand home. We'll see if we can get permission to go to the prisons. Um, there's an old people's home where they can go to assist in any way they can. There is a home for um, people with intellectual challenges where they can also go and assist, spend the day with them. You get it. These are some of the things that they'll carry out. There'll be opportunity for sports, games. There'll be a cultural dinner where people would have to come in their cultural attire from wherever they are coming from. Yeah, and there will be. Then we would have, the big closing mass in one of our parishes in Nigeria as well. Yeah. So that's what we are really looking forward to. And then when the whole program ends, there'll be a tour for those who came from outside Nigeria. There'll be a tour for them as well. But even as part of the program, there'll be a tour of like major historical sites in Benin City because Benin City is a very it's very rich in history and culture
Right.
in Nigeria and Edo State. So there are a lot of tourist sites to visit there, the museums, the what they have, they call the Holy Arosa Cathedral, the Oba's Palace, and other things. There are a lot of places we could see and visit. Yeah.
So
So
all these juicy packages limited to only members of MAGIS.
um, um, for now, it's open to MAGIS members. So if you would want to attend, you have to be a member of MAGIS Ghana or MAGIS
How
Nigeria.
do I become a member?
So to become a member of MAGIS Ghana, you can reach the nearest MAGIS center to you. Unfortunately, in Accra, unfortunately, we have only 3 centers in Ghana, and they are all located in Accra. The first one is at St. Patrick's, Domi. The second one is St. Mark's, Ashoma Estate, and then the third one is St. Ignatius at Barcelona. Yeah. So once you get to these places, you would meet somebody who can, enroll you, and then you can start your journey.
Are they going to pay something, or this all sponsored by the
Um,
youth office?
so the youth office is subsidizing,
Right.
but people would still have to make a financial commitment towards it. You know how the country is not smiling.
Right.
Yeah, so we are subsidizing to a certain extent, but the participation fee, which is subsidized, is 700 CDs, and then they take care of their transport to Nigeria. Yeah, so the group is organizing the transport. So once you join in, they would give you the details of the transport and how much it would cost, and then we'll take it up from there.
It means you need sponsors.
Yes, yes, yes. We are really, really looking for sponsors, anyone who could, assist to make this dream a reality for us.
How do we get in touch for sponsorship?
They could reach out to me um, via email at youthoffice at jesuit-anw.org. Um,
So that's on your screen now.
yeah, or via my WhatsApp number, which is +234 912 811 4098. Yeah, they can reach me on any of those places, and then we'll take it up from there. We'll be very grateful for any support we can get.
Well, they say that the young people in today's world are not the young people that we experienced some time back. How challenging has it been working with young people?
So the fact of the matter is this: young people today are exposed to a lot of things that were not there in the past. You speak with young people, they'll tell you, "Oh, when we're young, the church was very vibrant. We would come to church and we'll do this and we'll do that." But now, you know, growing up, for instance, let me use myself as an example. We would go to the church to play volleyball.
Right.
After mass, we would hang around, clean the place and everything. But these days, even to get people to come for mass is an issue. You get it. And then after mass, everybody just vanishes, and the space that um, where we could be together, in common, has been taken up by virtual spaces. You get it. So, oh, we'll talk on the platform, not physically, and it has really changed a lot of things, a lot of dynamics. It's hard, it's hard, but we still keep pushing, hoping and praying that all the efforts we are putting in will not go to waste. But I'll not lie to you, it's very very hard these days to try to get young people interested in doing work for the church, to support the church, and also to come to church themselves. It's very very hard because people work practically every day these days,
Right.
Monday to Sunday. So some would work maybe weekdays, Monday to Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, they have a side hustle they are doing. Maybe it's a remote job or
Right.
something. So it's difficult for them to just find time to be by themselves because they also want to secure their future. They want to secure their future.
Right.
Yeah.
So for where you sit as director of youth ministries, what are some of the workable approaches that you have been using to get the young people glued to their faith?
Um, Maybe I thank God for the gift of humor. I use that to the best of my abilities, and also um, speak the language of the young people.
Mm.
Speak the language of the young people. Do not. I try not to be far from them. I try to be with them in the thick of everything that they are going through and everything that is going on. It's a lot of work. I try to follow their trends and see what excites them, what makes them happy, and then follow along with them. At the same time, trying to let them be aware that, okay, in as much as we are happy following this trend, we shouldn't let it take away our focus and drive of what is essential. So it's good to be there with them. At least your presence there will help guide them on what they are supposed to do, and also helping them to find sponsorship for their programs, and even in their own lives. Some of them want to continue their education, but there are no sources of funding. So we get people who would know how to secure funding, stuff like that, like how to get scholarships and others to help them apply for these things. But it's not, like I said at the beginning, it's not only about praying
Right.
with them, but also what more can we do? If it's about praying, um, everyone can pray with them. What other thing are we adding to make their life more meaningful, to add um, more clarity to their life? Yeah.
Father Slim, thank you for your
Yeah.
time with us on the show today.
Thank you for
Why,
having me too.
why,
I'm
why did
very
they call you Father
grateful.
Slim? Because you're not slim.
That name started long ago. That's an old name. Has followed me from uni till today. So
How did
from
they come about?
2006. So when I was in the University of Cape Coast, affiliated to Kesley Efford Hall, and when we arrived, they were giving names to people. There was a guy who had only one working eye, and his nickname was Focus. They gave him Focus, and then for me, who was fat, they decided to call me Slim. There was another guy who was very dark, and they called him Half Caste. So they were just giving the names based on certain traits and attributes we had. Yeah,
And you love it.
I
Because
just I just I
I've
just
seen
I
some of
just
your
took it.
shirts that you have Father Slim on it.
Yeah, it's what I've accepted it.
I
I've
think it's the
accepted
language
it.
of the young people, right?
Yeah, and they like it. Like when you introduce yourself, oh hi, I'm Slim, and they're like, and you can't easily forget
Yeah.
a name like that. You can forget Eyrah, but Slim you can't forget it. And well, now in my parish, all the parishes I've worked in, some of them don't even know my real name. They just call me
Ah,
Father Slim. Yeah.
right. Thank you once again, Father, for your time with
Thank
us.
you.
All right, so that's all time will permit on today's episode of Spotlight on Catholic Trends. And as you already know, this is a base that we throw light on treasures and happenings of the church here in Ghana and beyond. My name is Ernest Senanu W. Hopefully, I'll come your way some other time with another edition. Thanks for your time.